Good evening, guys. Hello. Hello, everyone. So, guys, आज का दिन भी बहुत ही लो गया है, बहुत ही सैड डे गया है, बहुत लो गया है. देर इज़ नथिंग हैपनिंग बिकॉज यू आर आप समझ सकते हो कि कल हमने बहुत बड़ा एक इंडस्ट्री को लॉस हुआ. आज एक बहुत बड़ा इंडस्ट्री को लॉस हुआ, एक ह्यूमैनिटी को लॉस हुआ देखा जाएगा तो. बिकॉज इन द एंड आर्टिस्ट ह्यूमन. सो थोड़ा लो फील कर रहा हूँ बट आई विल बी ओके. बाकी सब कैसे हो सर? गुड इवनिंग गाइस, कैसे हो? सो गाइस, आज के जो गेस्ट है वो है सोनक स्पेस. राइट नाउ ही इज़ इन न्यूयॉर्क. ही इज़ अ पोर्ट्रेट फोटोग्राफर एंड बहुत ही क्रेजी काम है, बहुत ही आर्टिस्टिक वर्क है, बहुत क्रेजी थॉट प्रोसेस है. लाइक मेरे लिए वन ऑफ द बेस्ट है वो फॉर अ पोर्ट्रेट फोटोग्राफी. मुझे बहुत कुछ सीखना है उनसे और ही इज़ सो क्रेजी. सो गाइस, अभी हम उनसे लाइव पे बातें करेंगे. लाइव सेशन जो होगा इंग्लिश में होगा. आई होप किसी को कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगी बिकॉज वो न्यूयॉर्क से है. सो हम इंग्लिश में बातें करेंगे. एंड कुछ भी अगर आप यू कैन आस्क क्वेश्चंस. हम जब बातें करते रहेंगे आप नीचे क्वेश्चंस आप डाल सकते हो, भेज सकते हो. सो मैं उनको क्वेश्चन पूछ लूँगा बिकॉज उसका काम बहुत क्रेजी है. हमारे पास सिर्फ 30 मिनट्स है ये लाइव के लिए. 30 मैक्स टू मैक्स 40 मिनट्स. तो शॉर्ट है आज का सेशन बट मज़ा आएगा. ओके, तो मैं बिना टाइम वेस्ट किए सोनक को बुलाता हूँ. सोनक से बातें करते हैं, मज़ा आएगा. सोनक अयोध्या. सोनक अभी तक ऑनलाइन नहीं आए हैं. गाइज आई होप तुम सब ठीक हो. आई होप सब ठीक है, घर पे हो एंड सेफ हो बिकॉज वो इम्पोर्टेंट है. बिकॉज बहुत ही कुछ अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है यार, कुछ अच्छा नहीं हो रहा है. राइट, तो थोड़ा अपने को हिम्मत दिखानी पड़ेगी, थोड़ा होप दिखाना पड़ेगा बिकॉज होपलेस बन के नहीं होगा. मैं आज का एक्चुअली लाइव सेशन रखने वाला नहीं था बट मैंने किसी को वक्त दिया है, मैंने किसी को टाइम दिया है एक हफ्ते पहले से, तो मुझे वो कंप्लीट करना है. तो इसके लिए द शो मस्ट गो ऑन. बट जो भी है आई एम नॉट हैप्पी. आई एम सो सैड बिकॉज ऑफ व्हाट इज़ हैपनिंग. जो भी चल रहा है आजकल. सोना, वी आर वेटिंग फॉर हिम. मज़ा आएगा. डोंट मिस दिस गाइस. हेलो सोनक.
Hello, hello. How are you?
I'm good. First of all, happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate it, man. It was such a nice day. Feeling super blessed. Couldn't have asked for anything more. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. That's just a little bit low because of the situation in India,
I
especially
know
in Mumbai.
no,
Yeah.
it's tragic news.
Uh,
Just one after the other. So it's definitely
yeah.
something we all need to acknowledge and
Yeah.
take a minute to reflect and be humbled by the amazing work that they did. So no, totally.
Yes. And how are you? Are you safe at home?
Yeah. We're safe. I mean, it's pretty crazy here in New York, of course, as it is everywhere. But we're hanging in here. The lockdown's in full effect. People can still walk out and take a stroll, but for the most
Okay.
part, we're on lockdown. Yeah, but everyone's safe.
Okay,
Thank you.
bro.
Yeah.
Good to see you, bro. Good to see you. And
Likewise.
so my first question is, when are you coming again? Like in India,
Oh my
Mumbai?
God. Dude, the minute they lift the ban, I'm gonna be there.
Great, bro.
No,
Great,
but
bro.
ideally, God willing, I mean, hopefully I can come back this year. I was there in February for a short time, but I would
Yeah.
love to come back. The energy and the inspiration that I feel every time I come back to the motherland it's unmatched. So I would love to be there. Yes.
Yes, bro. And like very good to see you, bro. And I'm your like huge fan because your work is so crazy, so artistic, and like so thoughtful. I'm your like huge fan, bro. When it
I
comes to
really
portrait,
appreciate it, bro. I mean,
thank.
likewise. I mean, I couldn't give a more bigger praise to you as well. But I feel like we are all in our own ways are trying to um, put something good out there and make impact. So I think it's important to acknowledge one another, but also take a tap
Yeah.
on our own backs that we're doing something that is going to push the needle, hopefully a little bit.
So Sonak, when and how did you started photography, especially portrait?
Dude, I used to shoot portraits since I was in school. I learned
Oh,
photography old school. My parents were both photographers. I
oh,
didn't have
great.
formal training, but I learned it from them. So my first camera was obviously a DSLR. Learned photography on film, and I know that when I was in school, I always used to be into capturing people. There was something about portraiture that appealed to me, and we used to go to these villages. I went to school in Gwalior in the Scindia school, so I was in a boarding school for 10 years, and we used to go on these trips, weekend or day trips to these villages in Madhya Pradesh, and capture people. And I used to always be drawn to little kids and women and just the humanity aspect of it. And that's when I knew that I was into portraiture. And of course, I had certain idols that I was following. Obviously, Steve McCurry was a huge inspiration of
Yeah.
mine when I was growing up. And I think also the things my father would get from his trips. So I think when I was younger, a lot of my surroundings definitely impacted how I saw photography and how I saw the world around me.
Great, bro. Great, great. Like great source of like inspiration. Like your family itself, like your mother, your father, and now you. Like so great, bro. So, bro, like when did you shifted to like New York and like when did you start shooting the portraits, the real portraits, the artwork, and like
So
how
I
did you develop that skill? How did you develop that skill?
It definitely happened over time. I know a lot of people are chiming in, and it definitely happened over time. It is something I was passionate about. So I moved to New York in 2002. I did my undergrad in graphic design, and
Okay.
so I was into advertising for about 15 years. So I worked in the agency as an art director, and I was always pursuing photography on the side as a side hustle. And so I was meeting people in the community. I started meeting. This was about I don't know, about 5 years ago, when
Okay.
Instagram was so hot at that. I mean, it even is now, but when we were starting to meet people through Instagram, when it was so in that people were trying to connect and go out of the way. I mean, I guess they even do that now. But I was meeting people in the New York scene, and I started meeting so many interesting people who also had a passion for portraiture. And that inspired me to continue and take portraits. It was only until, I say, 3 years ago, when I quit my full-time job and I went on this journey on the global pursuit, where I started hosting meetups to my collective Pursuit of Portraits. And that's when I kind of got a little bit more serious about portraiture and what my narrative is as a storyteller. I thought it was important to take portraits, but it was also important to draw a line and communicate to the world and people what is important about portraiture that is significant to share with a community that's so largely inspired by people around them. So I really wanted to talk about topics and subjects within my portraiture that
Okay.
actually start conversations. You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many different aspects of portraiture, right? I mean, we have people who shoot street style. There are people who are
Yeah.
photojournalistic, and there are people who are shooting the calamity and the human condition. There's obviously style and fashion. There's obviously other topics that delve into, different people in general. So I think my POV for portraiture is around people of color. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it was super important from the get-go when I started into it that I was drawn to subjects that that made me have a sense of belonging, but also told a story as to who I am as a creator myself. Um, so anyway, I can go on a tangent. So just Ganesh, just tell me when I'm like speaking too much. But yeah.
No, bro, but lot like there is a lot of knowledge, and like I know, just an hour session is not just like enough for all the knowledge. Uh, so that's the reason like we have to like be relatively quick. So, bro, tell me how pursuit of portraits like started and like how you do that. Like, it's so crazy, bro. Different cities and different states. So crazy.
So again, I mean, Pursuit started as my own Instagram account. One day I woke up, I was like, you know what? Let me just create a separate section for Pursuit because there's something important to be said about portraiture, and I didn't want to share because I'm also interested in travel and shooting environmental photos and architecture. And I just wanted a separate place for Pursuit. And it just so happened that one thing led to the other, and I started connecting with so many people. That Pursuit kind of blew up. Like we got featured a couple of times by Instagram, which was really, really humbling. And then we just made it into a community event. And with some of my friends in New York, Karsten, Skinny, Navy, there are a lot of people with like-minded ideas that came together selflessly and voluntarily to help the mission kind of grow. Um, and and then for me, it was important to showcase the creativity that was going on, not only in New York City, but all around the world. And so when I quit my full-time job, it was basically because I stumbled on this program called Remote Year. And it was an opportunity to travel the world while working. So you could still keep your full-time job and travel, but work remotely. So at that time, I was working at an advertising agency. And I had the chance to continue working for them while working remotely. And it was just a new concept and they declined. And I kind of saw it as an opportunity to go on my own and do something that I always wanted to do, which is passion for travel, right? So yeah, it just happened. And I took it on myself that we're going to go travel to all these places through the program. And in a year, I traveled to 21 countries, hosted meetups, I don't know, like
Great.
couple of dozen meetups, met about thousands of people. I believe I met you for the first time. I
Yeah.
think it was back in 2017. You know what I mean? And I couldn't be more thankful for the amount of people that I've met through this journey, bro. I mean, it's just
Yeah.
incredible. I mean, there's so many good things that have come out of these online platforms. It's definitely given us a sense of community. It has given us our own calling for what we really want to do out of our lives, which is important
Okay.
for so many young, aspirational, passionate, and creative creators all around the world, right? And a lot of times, it's people who are super clear and communicative around what they want to do. Like when I see your work, I get a distinct vibe around what you want to share to the world. You are unadulterated, completely honest,
Thank you.
authentic. You don't hold back. You're not. You're there for the community. You're there for the people, and it's so important because you're making such a huge impact for so many who are struggling in so many ways and who would love to have a career and a profession doing what you're doing today. It is, I think when I look back on the journey, it is a beautiful journey with hardships and struggles, but
Yeah.
there's definitely a sense of accomplishment, not in numbers or figures, but in just real communications and interactions and the stories
Yeah.
that we all
Exactly.
have, that we all look back every time I go on my photo album with all these photos, I'm always like reminded of like the amazing people that I met and the stories. That's what's actually drives me. But I mean, today it's a movement, you know, and I think portraiture now is so much more mainstream than it was when I
Yeah.
started 5 years ago. And I
Exactly.
think the mission was to empower people to be able to tell their own stories through the
Yeah.
subjects that they meet and the people they meet. It was important for me to shoot while I was traveling with various creators, collaborative efforts, or you know, through the meetups that I've met people, to be able to show the world a little bit about you know, their style or their aesthetic or the environment. You know,
Environment.
a lot of times what we are subjugated to or what we see is what we see on the media, right? And we form an opinion about a country or people by large, and sometimes that taints our opinion about that place or people. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
when I can tell someone that, you know, go to Ganesh's Instagram and check out the cool stuff he's doing, you know, people will get a flavor, a deeper flavor around different places in India, not only you know, the popular ones, or not only the impoverished ones, but there's like a balance. And I think that is
Yeah.
important today for every creator to put out there, so that they can best represent the environment that they're living in. And I think portraiture and storytelling does that. It has the power to show people everything that they're impacted with. And that's why we love, you know, famous directors or photographers or photojournalists, because
Yes.
they share a window into who they are, because these are the subjects that actually matter to them. So people of color, minorities, the LGBTQ community, so many issues and topics that people don't necessarily talk about are so
Yeah.
important. You know, I mean, we see it all around our surroundings, but we also a lot of times turn a blind eye, or we don't want to talk about it. Toxic masculinity. I mean, there's so many issues that are actually being experienced by the youth today, and a lot of times they don't have the role models around them to basically guide them in the direction they want to go.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
I think, long story short, portraiture is a way for myself to express how I feel and how I respond to the world around me. And the people that I attract in my life are a direct result of, you know, how I see people. So it's kind of like a give and take. Selfishly, I
Yeah.
want to be out there, meet more people, because I want to learn from them. You know, despite the age barrier, despite the socio-economic, you know, disparities, it's so important to see people eye to eye, and without devoid of any following or influence. It's important to connect with people on a more real level. And I think that's what's taken me far today, and that's what's made the relationships more richer.
Great. So, like, for a beginner, for an amateur, for a, like just a startup, like for if someone wants to start the portraiture photography, like what are the things, the basic things you should be keeping in mind, like the basic camera or a phone. But what are the basic things for a beginner? Because like
Yeah,
I haven't like shoot the portraiture like that the way you do. But if I like really want to start something, because I also love to shoot portraits, but in a
yeah,
street style. Okay, but as a theme wise, or like if anybody want to like start as a beginning, like as a beginner, like what are the
yeah.
few tips that you can give to them?
Yeah, definitely. Well, there's a lot out there. I mean, first of all, don't be bogged down by the camera initially. You know, you might have a smartphone, you might have, you know, some sort of old model of a Sony, Canon, Nikon, whatever it is. Don't be worried.
Like
Yeah, focus on creating and what you want to shoot. Okay, so what I do is that I jot down lists around what are the themes I want to shoot. Okay,
okay,
there's a beauty in going out there and just shooting, you know, and being surprised. But at the same time, with portraiture, sometimes what I do is that I set a few topics around what are some of the themes or concepts that I want to shoot around. And that helps me go and find subjects within that sort of a theme. So for instance, if there was someone who was shooting portraiture, right? So so for instance, think about just color, light, subjects, older people,
Okay.
younger people, different kinds of people. So I would go out to a beginner and I would say that why don't we just go out for a walk for an hour and just focus on one topic or one concept so that you can frame
Okay.
your mind around a specific thing, because sometimes what happens is that we are so inundated with so much information that we see, we are unable to focus on one. Okay.
Yeah.
And always, and that's how I tackle life in general. Like I make lists and I want to narrow it down to, like, say, if I accomplish 3 important things today, that's all I want to do. I don't want to take on a huge task. I want to go step by step. So that's super important. So camera is not important. Focus on a theme. Look at different aspects of the environment that are going to factor in. Like environment is a big one for me. When I'm shooting portraiture, I'm not just focusing on the face, I'm focusing on the big picture. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And play around. If you have one subject, play around with different perspectives, different compositions. See how you can get a story from one subject, but from in 5 different ways, right? So I always do that with all my shoots. I'm obviously zoning in on the detail shots, but I'm also zoning out because I want to be able to tell a story around what's going on. What is it that you can get from a portraiture that you can't say in words? And that's my goal usually. Like I want to be able to say that, okay, this person lived here, or he walked on a certain street, or he interacted with someone, or this is what he does as a profession, or this is what he sells. These are the clothes that she wore that day. Like so many
Yeah.
things that are important in storytelling, you got to focus on that and be able to showcase that. And by the end of it, be authentic to who you are as a creator. I feel a lot of people get so bogged down about um, yes, getting inspired by people, but also trying to be someone else. I mean, I feel like we all have our own niche, and I feel everyone needs to um, look into what they enjoy.
Exactly.
That I did, yeah. So, so yeah, the aspect of portraiture and what is it that actually compels them to go out and shoot. So I would focus on simple topics to go out and create, and
Okay.
then also critique and get feedback from other people, and see how one set of images or a photo shoot gets different feedback from 5 different people, and how you can grow. I feel like always be open to constructive criticism, getting feedback from other people, but also knowing how you can see what others are doing and get inspired by them and do something, in your own unique way so that you can stand out as a creative.
Great, bro. And bro, how do you decide the location of the particular photo theme?
So it usually is based on the concept. So a lot of times we do it primarily like premature, like initially when I'm doing the research. So for instance, if I have a certain theme and I'm working with a stylist and I feel like um, the mood is it has a certain vibe, I'm going to brainstorm on specific locations. So of course different locations impact sets, like the models and the on the concept differently. So for instance, if I mean, of course there's environment, there's architecture, there's nature, there's texture, there's tree,
Section.
there's so many
Okay.
different aspects, right? So for instance, when I'm in a new city, I will take my time to explore the city on my own, do my research, see the hotspots, but also see the off the beaten path locations like that people don't go to. So, a lot of times I will link up with or reach out with creators in that city and, get insider tips on, hey, buddy, like, I have this shoot. Do you have, a specific location that might be great? So I actually do explore, research. but sometimes it's also completely magical. You know, sometimes we're doing we don't have a location in mind, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Sometimes there is a magic
Yeah.
in exploring and just finding newer places that are going to complement what the model is wearing. But a lot of times, based on how the model is styled and the theme and the subject, I think of what is it that's going to accentuate and completely strengthen the concept altogether. Because of course you don't want something that's clashing. You don't want something that's very identical, or it's going to take the attention away from the model. But sometimes you never know what you might be surprised with. So yeah.
Great, bro. In portraiture, like, which is the like the must have lens, like a basic lens for like anyone, that is a important lens for a portraiture?
Yeah. So, well, my go-to lens is, of course, a 35 mm. I
Okay.
like, I love a 35 mm, a good 35 prime, just because I feel like I can get close enough, but I can still maintain a good distance. It's sort of like, you know, in the middle. Like with an 85, I feel like I need to maintain a distance, and I feel like that kind of sometimes limits me because I like to interact with my models like around 6 feet. Or you know, sometimes, I mean, that's a comfortable distance. And I feel like with a wide angle, sometimes I feel like if I go on an 18 or a 24, I feel like it's wide enough. I mean, I do have, usually I carry a wide angle as well, because I like to get an environmental shot, and sometimes you
Okay.
need a wide to just get that. But I think my go-to lens would be a 35 mm, just because I'm able to control what I need to get out of portraiture with a 35 mm. But again, I mean, you know what? You can basically
Like,
convey, you can,
yeah.
yeah, with any lens that you want.
Great. So, bro, like, what I was about to say. So, how do you like select the models and their attire, the designing? Who does the designing and everything? Your concept, like your direction, yeah. You appoint a designer.
So a lot of times, of course, I come up typically with the concept. You know, there are things that I have in mind that I want to do. A lot of times it's a collaboration. It really depends on the project. If it's a commission shoot, then of course, the brand typically has, you know, the
Yeah.
stylist, the concept, everything is arranged for, and I show up as a photographer. But if it's something that I want to do as a collaborative effort, a lot of times I have a clear idea in my mind what I want to do, and a lot of times I look for themes that I'm inspired by, and I basically write down a mood board, a concept with a couple of pages around what it would be. So it would have reference images as a mood board. It would have a concept. It would have the objective, the key takeaways of the shoot. What is the message? There's so many things that are important in a shoot. You know, I know a lot of people love to, you know, once they have access to a model, they're just interested to go and take pictures. Take a step back, not think about the model first. The model comes last. I don't mean to obviously downplay the importance of a model. The models are super important, but I don't think the model comes first. The model is the last thing that you would think about, because the model has to fit into the concept. The concept doesn't have to fit into the model. You know what I mean? So I ideate what I want to do first. Have a clear idea in my mind. This is the theme. Then I would go and recruit the team that I want, you know, the stylist, the makeup artist, if there's creative direction, if there's co-concepting, anyone who is on the team to help me bring everything together. And then we would do a recce around the location. And then we would also source and do a scouting of the models and the talent. So based on the concept, a lot of times the stylist would send me different references of different models, and we would basically work together on who we want to pick. But again, I mean, I think depending on the project and details around the project, it's there is a little flexibility, but at the same time, I have a pretty clear idea as to how I want to go about into a project before I start picking models.
How often you shoot, bro? How often you shoot? Like how often you shoot?
Dude, I would shoot every day of the week if I could, but it's just that I'm unable to, because first of all, we all have so much of content sometimes, and a lot of
Yeah.
times it's we have deadlines and deliverables, and
Yes.
which kind of restricts us to take projects as they come. But I try to shoot at least once a week. I mean, obviously pre COVID. Uh, I'm freelancing right now as a photographer, so what I do is once a month I like to treat myself with a personal project. And a personal project is a collaborative shoot where
Okay.
it's non-commissioned and everyone's having fun, and I want to work with the people
Hmm.
who I would enjoy working with. But otherwise, outside portraiture or editorial shoots or shoots that are predetermined, I love to just go out and shoot whenever I can. Not as much as I could, but I do love, yeah, whenever I can.
So Sonak, do you have like a particular time to shoot, like a mornings or evenings, so you can like shoot any time? Like you can manage to shoot any time.
I mean, I think as a photographer, your strength lies in your versatility, right? I
Yeah.
mean, you are a strong photographer if you're able to shoot anytime. But at the same time, if I was given a preference, I'd obviously shoot in the early hours in the morning, especially when it's portraiture, or in the evening hours. And this is in the case of on-site shoots, right? When you don't have control over light, and
Yeah.
when light is an important factor. But you know what? There are so many times when I've been surprised by getting to a location and there's rain or thunder, or everything goes completely opposite than what you'd planned, and those moments, you just have to go with your gut and your sense of like proactiveness of how you're going to improvise on a certain situation. Yes, I mean, in the ideal world, it would be lovely to have the perfect light fall and everything goes around what's planned. But I think what's going to strengthen you as a photographer is definitely how you can improvise on the go and make quick changes that are still not going to put a damper on the overall result of the shoot.
How much time, bro, you spend on like on editing,
I
post
I
processing?
spend I spend very little time on editing.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, little time meaning it really depends on batch to batch. Sometimes portraiture just requires a little bit more time in editing, because if you have certain blemishes that probably the model also is
Yeah.
uncomfortable with. But for the most part, I think my editing workflow is I give about 5 or 10 minutes on each portrait. Maybe 5 minutes, because if I have a dozen portraits I want to shoot, I want to wrap up the edit in an hour, right? Like, or less. Really, it also varies. If it's client work, it might need a little bit more TLC because the clients want the image a certain way. But I feel like there's obviously a recent trend around beauty portraits, right? Where a lot of the photographers are so focused on how flawless the skin needs to be, or how gorgeous,
Yeah.
the face needs to look. And I think
Yeah.
for me personally, I put that as secondary or even tertiary.
Oh.
That's not important to me. What's important to me is what I want to tell, and what is it that the audience is going to soak in as the concept of the shoot. Because what I do a lot of times with portraiture, and I do that with videos as well, right? And so what I do is, this is a little trick that I do, and it helped me because a lot of times I'm curating for pursuit, and I'm trying to look into what is a good, strong portrait, right? So what I do is, a lot of times I just block the face. I'll just put my thumb on the face, and I want to be able to see if I'm going to be moved by an image without being biased by a beautiful face. You know what I mean?
Great, great
Because a
thoughts.
lot of times what we do is, it's like the media, we'll see Kim Kardashian and we're like, oh my God, drop dead gorgeous. This is a beautiful photo. But is it a beautiful photo, or is she just but drop dead gorgeous. You know what I mean? It's easy to
Yeah.
like a photo based on what someone looks like rather than really focus on the aesthetic, the light and mood, the shadow play, the colors. There's so many different factors that actually make an image strong. And I feel like young creators need to focus on that. They need to focus on what is it that they're trying to communicate through their work. Is it just beautiful portraits, or which is fine? I mean, I'm not trying to belabor or
Good point.
dampen the efforts that go into editing, because I think like I feel strongly that that is a work of art as well, and it requires skill to be able to deliver a flawless image. But yes, if you want to go into publishing or retouching, I mean, sure, it's important as a skill. But for me, a strong portrait is the overall picture, the big picture that
Great.
usually inspires us. And I want to be able to see a photo and be able to talk about it. Well, that is something so interesting, because there was, the photographer has this point of view or story that he's trying to capture in one photo or a series of photos. And a lot of times, I know creators who specifically look into that, and I love following their work because it inspires me greatly. So, yeah.
A lot of people think that a beautiful face, a gorgeous face, can make a good portrait, like a best portrait. But now you change the mind. Like, you change your mind.
Yeah, yeah, no.
Thank
I mean,
you.
I do. It's important to, not educate. I feel like people know more or less, but when I was growing up and when I was getting into portraiture, I wish I had, the role models around me or people who would teach me, because, a lot of us are homeschooled. We don't have formal training in photography. A lot of us love photography, and we just need mentors who are going to be able to tell us what was the right way or the wrong way. And a lot of times there is not a right way or wrong way, and a lot of times it's self-discovery, which is totally okay. But I feel like it's important to focus, say, one, on the long term and not immediate goals. A lot of times I feel like now, people are so impatient to be able to put what they've created out in the world. And I want to tell people that it's okay to take a minute and reflect on, what you want, rather than put out something that maybe you thought later could have been said
Yeah.
differently, right? And of course, it also depends on how much you're shooting and what kind of content you have. But I think there's something to be said, especially in the culture today and the environment we live in, that it's okay to stop in the tracks, not get overwhelmed by social media, of course, because there's so much going on, and we always
Yeah.
feel there's a need to stay on, always on. And it's okay to be offline. It's okay to take a minute, a breath, and focus on, projects that have always been on the back burner, and, try to actually hone in on how you want to put something out there that's actually going to make impact and be of significance.
Great, bro. I recently I loved your that self portrait one,
Oh,
the
shit.
latest one. I loved it. So, bro, can you just give me personally, give me a self portrait tips, because I really want to, like, in this lockdown period, I really want to click pictures of my self portrait.
Oh, you do? Cool, cool, awesome. Well, you know what? That's a great question, because frankly, like, I'm also really warming up to this whole aspect of self-portraiture and
Great.
self-love, because I mean, it's one of those things that we as creators are always seeing the world how we see it, but we don't want the world to see us, because we feel like we have like a shield or a layer, right? And we're always being hard on ourselves. Like, am I looking fat? Am I looking okay? Like, even right now, I'm like looking at my
Yeah.
hair, and my hair is not doing right. Like, I had to wear these glasses because I'm like, I might have dark circles. I don't know. I haven't slept in days. Like, there are so many things that we subjugate ourselves with, that we don't give the love that we want to give. But anyway, back to your question. I feel like it's, I would love to see the environment, or something that's going around your immediate neighborhood or your home, or even if it's simple things like the equipment that you use or the things that you carry in your bag, like what like an element that extends the narrative around you as a photographer. But I mean, we all are in lockdown right now, so it's so hard to obviously channel that creativity, because I mean, all our places are different. We might have access to an outdoor or a roof, we might not have access. So as far as tips, I would say, I mean, I don't know, like backdrops. Like I have a curtain here. I thought maybe I can use the curtain and make something interesting out of it. I can drape myself in a curtain. I can play with double exposure. I feel like that's
Oh,
something people don't do as much. So that's interesting. Like, like because I've seen certain pieces during lockdown where photographers have just put their camera on a tripod and shot the subject multiple times in the same location, which is like super interesting, because now you're trying to be omnipresent in an environment doing different things, which could be super interesting. Of course, playing with light during the day, during the night. I mean, they could be the same portrait, but shot different times of the day, and
different types of
kind of
design.
reflect on how your mood changes based on the time of day, which could be interesting. Of course, plants and things that you have in your house available could be interesting. But yeah, I mean, I'm just having fun. I mean, by the end of the
Great.
day, I feel like if you're able to have fun and be comfortable with what you're sharing, that's what's more important. And I have learned over time, through some of these young creators, that it is okay to be completely authentic around who you are.
Yeah.
Which is something that I need to learn at my age too. We all are learning at some point. We're all learning from each other. So definitely.
Bro, what do you like? What are your thoughts on Instagram? Like, how Instagram affect our life? Like, changed our lives, or like the add-ons to our lives. Your thoughts on Instagram?
I love it. I love the online social platforms, as long as they have been they're used in a way that will positively influence and impact your life, because there's a lot of there's positives and there are negatives, right, with any kind of platform. uh, I love Instagram per se because it has definitely changed my own life. I wouldn't have been able to meet like over 10,000 people in person over the last couple of years through the meetup activations that we've done. So I'm a huge fan, because I feel like we all needed that connection. And because of the world and the time we live in, it is so easy for us to basically get out on the street and, meet a dozen people. Like, I mean, who would have thought we could have done this? Like, like 5 years ago, which is amazing. So I love Instagram because of the community building aspect of it. I love Instagram because you can find talent and creators. You can explore and get inspired by other people and their stories. But I also feel like there's a fine line around overindulgence and obviously being inspired by things, because there are a lot of things that are also affecting people negatively. Like mental health is a huge aspect that people
Yeah.
don't talk about. You know what I mean? Because there's no recipe or formula or specific diagnosis for mental health. I mean, how many
Yeah.
people are affected by the obsessive compulsive nature of this platform? You know what I mean? Which is important. So it is amazing, but at the same time, I feel a line needs to be drawn so that people can focus on real things. And I'm not saying this is not real. This is as real as it can get, especially today during lockdown. But I feel like people also need to focus on self-development, self-love, motivating themselves outside these social platforms, because I feel like today a lot of people are really consumed in that. And I feel so if you can enjoy it and take the benefits, but have a line drawn, I mean, nothing like it.
Great, bro. You have shared a lot of knowledge in depth. You know, actually,
Thank
you
you.
shared a lot in depth. Like that's really really means a lot, and like that's a lot of knowledge. Like, thank you so much, bro. And the very
Thank you.
important question, like, for like each and like everyone, what do you like want to say to a portrait photographer? Like because we are a community, like a huge community of portrait photographer, different photographers. But when a person calls itself like himself a portrait photographer, like what are the things like you can like tell everyone like being a portrait photographer?
Yeah, I would say that identify what you're passionate about and why are you passionate about a specific aspect of portraiture. Portraiture is going to be stronger if you have a point of view around who you are as a creator. I want to be able to see your portraits and be able to tell this photographer shoots this because XYZ. You know what I mean? I mean, if someone sees my work, they know specifically that, okay, I love to shoot people of color because it was important for me when I came here 15 years ago. I am Indian, and at the same time, I was so influenced by everything around me, and at one point, I almost got lost, and I wanted to find my roots, and it was important, and I was also trying to fit in here. So a lot of us are trying to fit in within our own space and structure, and I think it's important for us to identify that, take pride in that. There's nothing wrong in taking ownership and pride for who you are as a person. So I feel like in portraiture, it's the same thing. You want to be able to tell stories that affect you greatly immediately. So I feel like if you can focus on that in itself, that one aspect, then you would be able to make your work around a body of work that's going to have a more fuller, richer experience, rather than focusing on the immediate. Because I feel like people take on a project and okay, they've done this to shoot one portrait set each month. How would the entire set over 12 months come together in one collection? So I want to be able to tell people that focus on a larger piece of work than one individual piece of work. And of course, don't get bogged down by the equipment you use or where you are. I mean, it's all very relative. Like in this time, especially, you know what I mean? Because the beauty of this time is that we all are in the same boat, no matter where we are. Like celebrities and, superstars are going through the same
Yeah.
emotions. Someone on the street who doesn't have a roof over their head is going through the same emotions. Everyone is basically the same. So I feel it's important not to draw comparisons, is what I'm trying to say. It's important to be comfortable around who you are, what you're doing, and if you work hard and put in, effort, there definitely will be results.
Great, great, great. Thank you so much for all the knowledge, bro. Like I really enjoyed it. I really loved it. Your words, your techniques,
Thank
your
you.
all the like aesthetic knowledge, like that's so great. So I want one selfie from you.
Yes.
I'm taking a screenshot.
Oh yeah, of course. Hold on.
Wait. Perfect. Perfect.
Awesome.
Done.
Listen, I want to say thank
Okay.
you, Ganesh, so much for getting me
Thank
on.
you
This
so
was
much for your time.
amazing.
Yeah.
No,
Stay
no, it
safe,
was
bro,
my
and
pleasure.
we'll meet
And thank
soon.
you to everyone. And thank you to everyone who
Yeah.
chimed in. It was amazing to see
Yeah.
you guys. Thank you so
It was
much.
a great
And
thing.
apologies if I was rambling a lot. I kind of get carried away.
No problem. No problem. See you,
Okay,
bro.
bro. Take
Thank you
care.
so much.
Thank you so much. Thanks. Bye. Peace.